Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. £50 million Arsenal player has been playing through pain for months. According to a new report from the Telegraph, Ben White has been managing any problems since before Christmas. The £50 million defender has been playing through pain every week, and whilst White is now often considered the most underrated player on the pitch for Arsenal, perhaps his determination of it is also being understated. According to this information, White is also known to hide discomfort he's been feeling from the club's coaches, given he is so determined to play. Of course, given how reliable and ever-present White has been for Arsenal this season, it's been remarkable to think what he must have been through in order to stay in the side. The report did point to the winter break as an important period for his recovery, leading to his excellent form right now, and perhaps Arteta's trust in White's ability can't be better demonstrated than the new role he asked him to play against West Ham United. Ben White is a crucial player for Arsenal, and he deserves recognition for his attitude both on and off the pitch. Shearer and Lineker suggest Arsenal star has been simply brilliant recently. Saka has now scored 10 times in the league this season. Meanwhile, he also has 7 assists. Only 4 players have been directly involved in more goals so far this season. Saka does not appear to have been at his best for much of the campaign, which makes his return all the more outstanding. And speaking on the rest is football, Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer insisted that they have been so impressed by the youngster once again. Lineker said, Bukayo Saka is worth a mention, another 2 goals, obviously. One was a penalty, but he is a footballer that we have all admired. He is probably had, by his standards, a slight dip in form over the last few weeks, but the last few games has been brilliant. I love his decision making with the ball. He is one of those players, you know, when you are watching a game and you think, right, give it there, and he does, and he always seems to make the right decision. Shearer said, I love his attitude as well. His attitude is amazing. You'd never know whether he hasn't scored for 6 months or he is actually on fire. I just think he has this arrogance about him, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean it in a great way, that nothing really affects him. He's just got the same attitude all the time. I think he is an amazing player. While he may not have got as many goals as he has this season, and he might not have hit the heights that he perhaps can do or has done, you always know that it's in there and it's only a matter of time before it comes out. I love him as a player. I think he is brilliant. It does feel as though Saka has not got enough credit this season. His overall performances have not been as eye-catching this term, and yet he has been one of the most prolific players in the division. Edin Nketiah shares what separates Mikel Arteta from every other manager right now. It's safe to say that Mikel Arteta has had a big impact on Arsenal since taking over as manager a few seasons ago now. The Spaniard has his fingerprints all over the club, and working alongside Edu has transformed Arsenal from nearly man in the top 4 race to genuine title contenders. This weekend's win over West Ham was another masterclass from Arsenal and their manager, and after beating Liverpool the week before, the title is very much a possibility for the Gunners right now. Of course, one of Arteta's big skills has been managing a large group of players at different stages of their career and make it a success. And speaking about Arteta for Sky Sports, forward Edin Nketiah explained what he thinks separates the Gunners boss from the rest. He said, his attention to detail, the way he pushes us every day, the passing around and the right thought and the right weight of pass. Even tactically, everyone knows their role, everyone knows their job. I would say that sets him apart in my opinion. Every successful team has a manager who the players are right behind, and it's safe to say that this Arsenal side are all in on Mikel Arteta. As Nketiah explains, there is an attention to detail and will to improve from the Spaniard that seems to rub off on everyone else. Indeed, beyond that, Emil Smith-Rowe mentions in the same video the passion Arteta brings to the cause, and you have to admit that shines through when watching him. Arsenal are in a lucky position to have Arteta as their manager right now. His time under Pep Guardiola has rubbed off on him, and eventually he will have success. It's just a case of when, not if. Chris Sutton says £27 million Arsenal player was incredible against West Ham. Chris Sutton has issued his verdict on the performance of Leandro Trossard as Arsenal beat West Ham 6-0 at the London Stadium on Sunday. Mikel Arteta's men secured a massive win in the Premier League title race. Arsenal were absolutely ruthless against the Hammers, proving a real point amid concerns about how they may fare without a lethal goal scorer. Leandro Trossard was one of those who did get on the score sheet against the Irons. The Belgian was picked to lead the line after Kai Havertz had been given a similar job against Liverpool in their previous game. Trossard missed an early chance, however, he made amends with a brilliant finish into the top corner just before half-time. His movement seemed to cause the lackluster West Ham defense all kinds of problems. And speaking on the Monday Night Club, Chris Sutton insisted that he was blown away by the £27 million forward's performance, while he also praised Mikel Arteta for selecting him up front. He said, Trossard had an incredible game. It's a brilliant management from Arteta, seeing Trossard as a 9 or a false 9 and playing him in that role. They just blew West Ham away. Pound for pound, Trossard has to be one of the most inspired signings in the current Arsenal squad. There was not a huge amount of fanfare when he arrived from Brighton in the 2023 January transfer window, but he has been excellent for the Gunners, considering that he has rarely held down a regular spot in one position. Trossard has been superb. He can play anywhere in the forward line and make an impact, and if his performance up front is a sign of what is to come, you have to say that Arteta faces a tough decision over whether to bring Gabriel Jesus back in when the Brazilian is available again. David Seaman surprised by what he saw 24-year-old Arsenal star do against West Ham. David Seaman has suggested that he was surprised to see what Declan Rice did against West Ham on Sunday after helping Arsenal to a 6-0 win at the London Stadium. The Gunners made a real statement with their performance over the Hammers. Of course, West Ham won the reverse fixture and put a large dent in Arsenal's title push at the same ground last season. Declan Rice was one of the stars of the show in the victory. The former West Ham captain set up two of the goals with two brilliant set pieces, and he rounded off the scoring with an amazing strike from well outside the box. Rice's early touches were booed by some of the West Ham fans inside the ground. Nevertheless, the Englishman decided to put his hands up immediately after finding the back of the net in the second half. It's common now to see players not celebrate against former clubs, and Rice has a stronger connection with his old side than most, so many may have expected Rice to suppress any urge to go crazy. But speaking on Seaman says, David Seaman suggested that he was taken aback by what Rice did do when he scored. He said, to see him not celebrate, it was strange because it was such a good goal and it was just the icing on the cake. I was so happy for him because he was getting a lot of stick. He got a lot of stick at the Emirates recently when West Ham beat Arsenal. I was just so happy for him. Rice conducted himself extremely well. Criticism of the West Ham fans who booed him seems incredibly odd. Their loyalty lies with their club, not with the player, who has now moved on, and for those 90 minutes, he is one of the players they need to try and put off. That was highlighted by the fact that he got a really good reception as he came off the pitch. Obviously, Rice had the last laugh as Arsenal ran riot in that middle period of the game. There was no need to do anything else. And you do get the sense that he will always feel a special bond with West Ham. Arsenal have held internal discussions over signing incredible £105 million player this summer. Arsenal are already planning for a major summer of transfers again and are apparently keen on signing Dutch giant Matthias de Ligt. De Ligt is one of the best defenders in Europe and has been widely courted by English clubs for a number of seasons now. Indeed, back in 2022 and before his move to Bayern Munich, the likes of Chelsea were quoted around £105 million to sign the Dutchman, and now with Bayern having a poor season and Thomas Tuchel now impressing in Munich, De Ligt could be available this summer, with Arsenal and Manchester United both keen. According to Football Transfers, Arsenal have now joined the race for De Ligt and have even held internal discussions about doing a deal for the defender. Now 24-year-old, De Ligt is yet another product of the famous Ajax youth system and has already played for the Dutch giants Juventus and now Bayern. A move to England has always seemed inevitable at some point, and it's been reported in recent weeks that the defender isn't actually happy anymore in Germany. Quite whether Arsenal could muscle together the money to sign a player like De Ligt as well as the striker they also want remains to be seen. However, the idea of De Ligt alongside William Saliba is something to really dream about for the Gunners. While the incredible De Ligt's arrival would probably be bad news for Gabriel Magalhaes, there is no doubt it's a signing that improves the Arsenal squad and first 11. The Dutch defender has been watched by English clubs for so long for good reason, and you'd expect any top Premier League side to be interested in him. Of course, it's claimed here that Man United are on pole position, and that makes sense given Erik ten Hag's links to the Dutch game. But come the summer, there will be a huge clamour for Matthias de Ligt if Bayern are open to selling. Arsenal then need to make sure they are at least in the conversation. Pundit is convinced £60 million Arsenal target will sign for Chelsea this summer. Pundit Robbie Mustoe believes Ivan Toney will sign for Chelsea this summer despite interest from Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's men were heavily linked with a move for the Brentford striker ahead of the January window. The Gunners were ultimately unable to find a deal for the 27-year-old due to financial fair play restrictions. Gabriel Jesus and Edin Nketiah haven't exactly been prolific for Arsenal this term, and it's led to the Emirates Stadium being touted as a possible destination for Toney. Brentford boss Thomas Frank has already suggested that Toney is likely to move on this summer, with the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea and Man United all said to be keen. But Robbie Mustoe believes the Englishman seems like the right fit for Chelsea and can see the striker moving to Stamford Bridge. Speaking on the Two Robbies podcast, Mustoe shared why he believes Toney will end up at Chelsea. He said, "I think Chelsea is the fit. If it's going to be this summer, he is in the last year of his contract, so £60 million. I think he is a Chelsea type of player for me. We have seen Diego Costa, Drogba, aggressive, maverick centre forwards." Mustoe also added that he believes Arsenal must be tempted by the idea of signing Toney this summer. It's no secret that Chelsea are in desperate need of signing a new striker this summer, but it remains unclear whether or not they will be able to attract some of the biggest names in the market. Mauricio Pochettino's men have been linked with the likes of Victor Osimhen and Toney, but Chelsea look likely to miss out on the Champions League this season. Luring a player like Toney to Stamford Bridge may prove to be a tough task without European football, especially if Arsenal step up their interests. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.